Yeah. It's the entire run.
You don't want to get the.
This is only okay because he's wearing the mask.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He's not a mask next year.
Yeah,
We'll
those
just,
are
have,
expensive.
we'll just have a mob of people surround you.
Pass out
No,
masks,
you get
like
close enough
passing
to
out
do it,
glasses.
trigger it.
Yeah.
Oh, useful.
Yeah, so it's
Well, we have to document first.
If I don't get
don't have to.
any more
So it's
esports,
you
he's
kick
gonna
it,
do that.
triggers the door, and then you just knock it out of your leisure.
Use all his Twitch money.
Yeah.
Twitch bucks.
Okay. Do you have any sort of audio? Game is? Excellent. So yeah, I'm Aftermath. I'm going to be running through Darksiders on Apocalyptic. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. That is an instance where.
So yeah, this is a game that came out in like early 2010. And I don't think it's sold very well. But it's like most notable for kind of being the prequel to the Legacy of Kain series. I can see kind of a lot of the same mechanics. It's a pretty safe route so far. I've been playing it like 2 or 3 years, on and off with help of a few other people. I'll give shoutouts to them like as the tricks come up.
How much of a game do you play?
100% ish. Well, it's interesting. Like the glitches in this game like aren't really that comparable to things in like Soten or like Ocarina of Time. They're just kind of like the small time savers that are just kind of like movement optimization and these real clever patterns of using the movement. So this game's kind of a mashup of a whole bunch of other genres. So it's like part puzzle, part platformer, things like that. And I think I might
It has
have
an inventory screen, right? So it's an RPG.
Yeah, it's an RPG. Well,
You're getting sniped.
I am getting sniped. It's bad luck. Goodbye world record. There we go. So yeah, you just kind of platform your way around. Those you don't generally find on your first time through. It's kind of an Easter egg, I think, that they included. There's a few of those just by kind of doing arbitrary things, it gives you small shortcuts and whatnot. So in this part, you're supposed to go fight over there, but AFOX, one of the other guys that runs this, found a pretty clever use of just putting the car on the wall. And usually it's not an ability you get until much later. But obviously saves a lot of time, because those climbable vines are just behind the wall. So this prologue's a bit slow, but after that it kind of picks up.
It's a slow intro, but the game is pretty fun and it's worth playing.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a sequel to it. Or it has been for a little bit, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, Darksiders 2. So this is something new that we just kind of found a clever way of jumping over here. No, I didn't get it. I haven't practiced it as much as I'd like because it was found like while I was at the marathon. But hopefully I don't take too long to get it. Yeah, it went to Nordic Games.
Nice.
That's like that jump is pretty tight. It's not as tall as War is.
Yeah, it's like exactly War's height. I'm thinking part of the reason it works is because the flip saw like compresses you down, possibly. And yeah, I haven't learned to navigate that backwards yet. So
Backwards movement is faster.
yeah, backwards movement's faster. In a lot of ways, it is like Zelda for that, because you can go into like something very similar to Z targeting, and there's quite a few forms of movement available to you
like,
there.
like Zelda because it became a giant red monster.
It's kind of like Elmo's Adventure in that. Oh, don't fall.
That was the track.
It still works.
What's better, Elmo's Number Adventure or better Blood Journey?
So in this fight, you have to throw cars to damage them. The way the game tries to do the tutorial, you have to wait between rounds. But then once you've done it a few times, you realize that you can just put them here and they don't explode between rounds. And basically just makes you cycle as quickly as possible.
Cars do a lot more damage than most things that you can do at this point.
Anything you can grab and throw is better than your sword, basically. Despite like having an awesome looking sword, it's not very good. One of the best movement tricks is moonwalking. Only available there.
See, man.
See Butters?
BB.
So yeah, that's the prologue. I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much the prologue. I'd say that other than missing that really difficult trip a couple times, you did pretty good.
Yeah. It saves like 40 seconds over the other route, because the optional route kind of takes, you get into a fight and you can get some experience.
It's like you fight in the hotel room, right?
No, well, it's the fourth fight,
Okay.
is what we know it as. But you can just kind of go the normal way and skip that fight. It saves about 40 seconds. So yeah, I'll explain this backdashing I'm doing. So like I said, with Z targeting, it's a faster form of movement. You just hold dash, or hold attack and mash dash as fast as you can, and then it cancels like an uppercut and dash into each other, making you just go really fast. It's something where, since you have to use Z targeting, you have to make sure there's no enemy spawns in areas that'll like interrupt you or make you go the wrong direction. Yeah, so this is another use of that kind of card throwing ability. So that skips a few cutscenes, and there's two types of cutscenes in this game. The ones that are rendered with the engine, which cost game time, and the ones which are just played from video files, which don't cost game time. We've been playing to optimize game time, and so skipping those cutscenes which are in-game is actually quite useful. The wall climbing is great in this game. When you go back when you go and play Darksiders 2, because they took out the quick jump on the wall climb. Oh yeah, so this attack stuff. Basically, you have a 4-hit sword combo, of which like the first hit is pretty much the strongest, and so you can just do the first hit as fast as possible. You can just block for like a frame or two, and then just attack again immediately, and you'll get a very fast attack. So we call that sword canceling, and it speeds up a lot of the fights. It's nice because that's one of the, you don't have to buy from Volgrim or anything, it's just available from the start. So yeah, in that fight, we just call it furniture fight because it's obviously done just with furniture because of course the sword is so bad at this point. And then here's kind of using the Z targeting off of an enemy to kind of go where you want. So yeah, this is basically you have to collect 500 souls for the shopkeeper, and normally you're supposed to go around and kill enemies, but another Easter egg is that you you knock over all these fire hydrants. There's 5 or 6 of them. There's a number. It'll basically open up a secret chest that's hidden that has 500 souls in it.
It's a great way to level up without what you described.
Yeah, because you have to go everywhere. And there's there's a segmented only strat for this, where you just throw like random objects from everywhere along the ground at the fire hydrants.
Hasn't the routing for this changed recently?
Yeah, I redid the routing, so there's not as much luck, but it's still really hard. Nope, there's half of one on my hard drive that needs to be restarted from the beginning.
Because of the new trick.
Actually, I might be able to salvage the first one, because it's just the best. But yeah, it's like I said, been run like for multiple years by AFox and I, and we
Found a lot of the tricks for the game.
AFox found a lot of stuff. I've mainly just run it like AFox, Kuro, Angerball. Actually, yeah, I should go into that. So this game basically has the absolute like all-star lineup of people you want to have to find exploits and Easter eggs and stuff like that. So Sockfolder, who found a whole bunch of stuff in some games played during the marathon, he worked on this game at the start, and we've mostly been phasing out his strategies because some of the stuff was he just bought some extra items that kind of changed the route quite a bit. Acheon, which is a lot of games, and he found a whole bunch of different things. Fox is just a monster, and then there's just been like he didn't really contribute anything, but Rockmox played a bit, found some useless low frame stuff. Might be useful on console. Found a few things like instantly. And so this is pretty good use of the sword canceling. It just makes this sword fight very fast. You can just see how fast the sword's swinging. Did I already get into the frame rate stuff?
I don't think you mentioned it.
So yeah, the speed at which I swing the sword is based on the frame rate, like a lot of the things in this game. So everything I do in this run is going to be possible on console. It's just a lot more difficult, and that's just because when you play this, you want to have kind of the highest frame rate. Again, it's not super important once it's past like 60, but every bit helps.
As a throwback to earlier in the marathon, there's an outstanding bet between Aftermath and Adam about you playing this game on console.
Oh my god. Yeah, so Adam, AK, said he would, if he gets a Fable 3 single segment run completed and accepted in SDA, I'll be forced into doing a console segment run of Darksiders, which is my worst nightmare.
It's bad for both sides of the.
It's bad. It's basically the frame rate's not a huge issue. The main thing is that just there's some extra buttons available, obviously, on the keyboard that are useful for some of the movement methods. and since you don't have them on consoles, it's very difficult to do.
Plus the frame rate doesn't always.
Yeah, the frame rate doesn't agree. Like on PS3, you can't jump as high, just because the frame rate's lower. It doesn't make any sense how they have that tied to it. But you should have seen me like save warp there. There's quite a few places in the run now where we save in one spot and just didn't make use of where it puts us afterwards. And so that basically skipped running all the way around from Volgrum back to basically the entrance to this cave. And here's something that we don't know how much time it saves, we've never tested, but if you just jump off that rock and get towards the ceiling, it'll load you in the next zone.
All of these are Easter eggs.
They're just things you kind of find eventually. So yeah, first of just a few Volgrum trips, so he has a little spiel here.
These are basically your upgrade shop.
Yeah. The route, like, we used to buy a whole bunch of stuff from Volgrum, because as anyone that's played knows, there's, similar to God of War or Devil May Cry, a whole bunch of different techniques for your sword and different, like, power-ups for war. Oh, okay. Maybe it's Devil May Cry then. Okay. So like Devil May, it's kind of like Devil May Cry in that sense then. But because we don't really need anything, because sword dancing is so good, all we get is what's called Meteor Dash, which basically allows you to do a mid-air dash, which is very useful. So here, to load the next section of the game, I just have to reload. And this is an interesting skip. This almost entire sequence was found by Sockfolder like a day after someone asked for it, because he's just that good. So if you use that mid-air dash there while holding Z target, you don't lose any height, and you can make it to that rock a bit early, which allows you to get up to this anvil, which has basically an item from the end of the game. And so there's a lot of backtracking at the end, but they were kind of nice about it. You can just kind of pick them up whenever you actually get to them, even your first time through here. And then this is an interesting route that we learned about. The game gives you two options. You can either like take 15 minutes to do the arenas to get a counter ability, or there's kind of this pipe section up here that they let you walk on, which just kind of goes over a bit. So yeah, this it's kind of a preview for the rest of the game. It's really interesting. There's a lot of games where you'll hear the term like inbound, out of bounds, skips and whatnot, but Darksiders is kind of unique in the way that there's really no bounds at any point. It just lets you go wherever you want, and that's often part of the puzzle, is kind of figuring out whether you need to. Yeah, there's a lot of like dungeons that you'll see, like in order to actually solve them, we have to just be out of bounds the entire time. I haven't really seen the game do that.
It's an interesting design mechanic, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. So yeah, one of the really important things as far as route is that I have to get all of these Volgrum shops. Like I said at the end, there's some backtracking. It's only like 7 minutes, but you have to make sure that you have all of the Volgrum points to work to. Otherwise, it does take a very long time because you have to travel between them all again. So this is a, I guess a skip, that has evolved a few times. There used to be an enemy we fought here, but we came up with a whole bunch of different strats of speeding up the fight and then how to kind of just get around it. And this is the final evolution, I think. Unless Fox finds something again. You can just jump around the cutscene trigger there, and it basically just never spawns the boss, which then lets you have early access to these, I don't even know what they're called, the glowing blue balls.
The jump balls.
Yeah, they are. So I guess if you were to call this run like any percent something, whoop,
It's definitely not 100%.
yeah, it's not 100%. It's any percent. One of the interesting things to note on it is like we don't grab any keys throughout the run, so we don't do any of those blue doors. Here's the auto scroll.
So what do you want to talk about now?
Any,
The running joke that whenever we would play this game.
yeah, whenever I would stream, basically we have a big Skype call going, and we would just choose a topic to talk about for 8 minutes. Like I said though, the nice part about this game is that more than like just glitching it out and things like that, it's all about just kind of these clever movement options that the game gives you. And so really optimizing those and just like having very good execution is what determines your time more than like RNG or anything like that. And so, I forgot where I was going with this.
What was your favorite run from the marathon?
F-Zero GX by far.
Pretty good.
Oh yeah, so because of it's all just kind of execution based, there's really no lower limit for the game except for how long it takes to do this auto scroller is what we've determined. Because there's been times where I'll like stop playing for a few months, come back and just beat the record by like 2 minutes.
The aftermath of that.
But yeah, the one thing that's hard for a lot of new players in this is there's an achievement for killing 160 enemies, and most people have a hard time with it because it's just hard to like do enough shots to. Oops, I missed this bat. To hit all the enemies. What most people don't know is there's another Easter egg where basically you have, at first glance, 2 types of shot. These charge shots you get by holding the left click or right trigger on Xbox and PS3, and then if you click, you just get that. But if you click and then hold, you get this like steady red stream of shots, which makes basically disintegrating all these guys super easy. How fast you shoot depends on your frame rate, so it may still not be enough on console to get it easily, but on most PCs you can just do this and it's very easy to clear this.
It's always really funny when you gain or lose time on this split.
Yeah, I have on my W split I have times for before and after this, and it's mostly just there to see how long is left in it, but there's been runs where I like gain and lose a couple seconds on auto scroller just from horrible timing, which then ruins the like rest of the splits, but whatever. Should have had someone on chat.
I make a pull out your phone.
Yeah, so let me know if there's any questions, because there's
questions?
not much going on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I've been asking Horns personally. Tell him to ask, start asking. If anyone wants to ask Aftermath anything about Darksiders or life in general, that's fine.
It's a broken mess.
You heard it here first, folks. Aftermath's life is a broken mess.
I haven't seen it hold up here.
Okay. Yeah, the auto scroller just takes forever. It's not something like we even need souls for, really. So there's. Uh oh. I didn't get him. Oh my.
People, I don't know, something with the voice.
Yeah, they keep talking about lowering the game audio or raising the voice mic.
I was thinking about a dry shaver. How long did it take to get the beard?
I've been growing the goatee for like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. I'm quite happy
what
with
is
it.
Darksiders about?
Good question. Let's see. I haven't watched the cutscenes in forever. So basically, you get there, and the prologue is kind of the prologue of the game. So the entire setup is that the apocalypse isn't supposed to happen for quite a long time, and it'll be between the kingdoms of heaven, hell, and man. And so it's not supposed to happen until after like man's got an equal ground with heaven and hell. And then what has happened though is that it's just started early, and war is sent down as one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. But he doesn't see the other 3 horsemen there, so that's why he's trying to go through and get to Straga to kind of see what's going on. And then turns out like it did happen early. He was blamed as starting it, and then he's basically sent back to Earth 100 years later, which is where all the main game takes place, to try to clear his name and figure out what actually happened. So that's what the entire story's about. Most of what you do is just kind of, there's this demon Samael that has info on how to get to like the end game bosses. I don't know what they are lore-wise. And you have to collect a whole bunch of different hearts for him so he can regain his power that was sealed away. And then that's pretty much the setup of the game. And so once you do the main 4, it's basically just one last dungeon that's pretty short, and then the end.
What is the world record for this game, and who holds it?
I have the world record. Game time, it's 1:14:47.
I'll answer this question, because I actually know the answer. He's playing the game on Apocalyptic right now, which is the hardest difficulty. The reason is because it doesn't change too much. It just changes how much enemies do to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, just
Okay.
the damage you take, which I won't be getting hit a whole lot, so I don't really care. But all 3 difficulties should essentially be the same speed.
People are asking how you got into speedrunning.
I got into
share?
speedrunning quite a long time ago with, I'd played just Smash Brothers Melee, and then just a few of the people I knew from there did speedruns of Metroid Prime, and so that's where I learned about it, watched a whole bunch of runs, and then didn't really do much speedrunning until I played this, and just absolutely loved it. And so I knew it was a game I could sink just hundreds of hours into, and so this game's probably where I got my real serious start. Other than that, I did like some DS Castlevania games, but they weren't all that optimized.
What's your favorite part of the game?
Yes.
Everything aside from the auto-scroller I really like, because it's a game where the speedrun, you just basically mashing buttons all the time, and so it's just a lot of fun to play because you're constantly doing something. And the fact that like the way the game plays in each dungeon is kind of different, just in terms of what you have to do.
How many hours do you think you have logged on Steam for this?
Into Steam, I have 161 hours in Steam, and that was within the first 2 weeks of playing. And then I switched to basically a cracked version, so I could just carry it around with me on the solid state drive for all the places I went. But the main reason was, in the Steam version, you can't switch to windowed mode, and for streaming, it's very convenient to have windowed mode. So I had to play on the 1.0 version, which allows you to toggle it to windowed mode. And that's the only difference between 1.0 and 1.1, is that you have the full screen option, or you don't. So yeah, this is a dungeon where the skip I'm going to be doing was actually probably found by a whole lot of people, even on their first playthrough, because it's just, again, a clever use of the horizontal dash to cover a bit more ground than I guess they designed the level for. So in this fight, I basically just want to attack them as quickly as possible and then do the cutscene kill, just because it's faster than hitting him like 5 more times. Oop. So yeah, sword canceling, you just kind of get into rhythm, and then if you mess up, it's hard to, or it's easy to just kind of keep messing up. So you'll see me drop the sword cancel combos quite a bit.